Hi, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to continue on our PHP MVC framework or simple PHP MVC framework. In our last video, we created our index file and we get the data from our URL or from the URL, and we stored the data here in our container or URL container, and we pass that data in our index here default constructor. And today in this video we're going to create a route in this framework. So basically the purpose of route is the route will determine what particular controller will going to run and what particular method will going to execute, and also the data that will going to pass or process. In short, the route is the business logic of our controller. Okay, so we'll start to create the route. By the way, the data that we're going to pass here is the data that we get from the URL, and there we can create our logic through this data coming from the URL. Okay, so we're going to create a file in our lib, and we'll name this file as route.php. Okay, and PHP, a class route, and we'll create a default constructor in our route class. And in our index.php, we'll pass the URL here, the data, and here, and we'll receive that in our route here in the default constructor. Then we'll trim the data from the URL. You see rtrim, and we specify the data that we're going to trim. So the method trim will remove the specified data, this one, or the specified character, so the forward slash. So since it is rtrim, so the right side of the string. So to set an example, if we have an input or the data or string in the URL, this one, we'll see if we have this URL, see home, then display. So after we trim the string, the output would be something like this, and there is no right forward slash, or there is no forward slash in the right side of the string. Okay, so after we trim this URL, we trim the data, we create an array from that string, and we'll use another method, see explode. So this method explode will return an array, so based from the delimiter that we specified. We'll say for in this example, or in this home display, so since it is an array, so it has index, you say 0 will be home, will be display, and delete. And the third one is the container of the data. Okay, so in this way we can now determine what particular controller will going to run and the data that will going to execute. This will be our controller, and this one, or the method that will going to execute, and this one is the container of the data that we're going to process. Okay, so we'll say, for example, if we have a controller here in our MVC, we create a new file and save this one as home controller. And in our home controller we have default constructor, and we'll echo some text here. Say I am home controller. Okay, so in our route, since we do not know exactly the controller that we're going to run, we'll concatenate the controller here. Say controller equals, so we'll assign the value, see URL 0, which is the home, and concatenate controller, this one, so that we can get home controller. Yeah, then we'll require once the home controller from the MVC directory, then controller, yeah, then concatenate this one. And the last one is string.php. So we'll try to run this one in our browser. Firefox PHP framework. Okay. Oh, sorry, I forgot to include the route in our index. Acquire once. So this directory live route.php. Okay. Okay, so, I'm sorry, I forgot to create an instance of the controller, home controller. So in our route, we'll create a new object of controller. Okay, so if we run this one, okay, so we get the display I am in the home controller. Well, let's say, for example, what if I have a string after home, say display. So I have display method in our controller, So we create a business logic. Now, for example, we'll count the number of array equals count method. It will return the number of array, and if count equals 1, else if count equals 2, else if count equals 3, then else, so we will do nothing. So here in our count 1, just in case if we only provide the controller, we did not put the method in our URL. So is example this one, we only put home. So in our route it should look like this. So count 1, you see require once, and see new controller. Yeah, so in our home controller we'll put default method here, just in case if there is only one, the array returns 1, this method will execute. And okay, this one, and another method here, see function display, see home controller, display method. Okay, so in our route we'll call that one, see so new count equals new. So here we count the number access operator, and you see URL 0. Okay, so this one, the home. If we try to run this one, unable class controller not found. It's line 30. Yeah, sorry. So this should be this one, the controller concatenate earlier, and see to string conversion from line 31. So maybe we can get this one, say method equals URL 0, then receive method. Yeah. Or we can simply add since it is a method, add that one. Oh, sorry. It prohibits us. You can see method equals URL 0. Yeah. So we'll delete this one. And we'll change this one to method. Okay, so we'll see, we'll try. So we are in the home method. So if our array returns true, this will display. Only change this one to 1. So let's say, for example, if we have display, so we are in the display method. So this one, so the display, this one is the display method in our home controller. So this one. So what if we have a data that we're going to process? So we'll say, for example, the next string after the method is the container. So we'll say data here. Data. This will be the container, the data. So in our home controller here, so we'll create another method display, but it has data here. So we'll say with parameters. Yeah, we'll say with param for short, this one, and this say data here. And in our route we'll see here, so 1, and we'll pass the data here, see URL 2. Okay, so we'll pass it here, and this one will concatenate with param. Okay, so we'll try to display this one. Say, for example, in our home controller, concatenate the data, yeah, data, and AMD with param, with parameter. So as what we can see, we are at or in the home controller display method with param data. Okay, okay, so this is our route, or this is the route of our a simple MVC framework. Okay, so yeah, thank you for watching. In our next video here, we'll create a library of controller, model, and view here. And if you like this video, please click like button below and subscribe for more coming videos. Okay, thank you for watching.